So where's the furthest out you sailed? You said
you
said you managed to sail out to Holland. Where's the furthest out you went?
The furthest I went was it wasn't in my boat. We did a delivery trip from Hamble to Tallinn in Estonia. It took a month, and that was great. That was a really fantastic sail. Fortunately, I wasn't in charge. We had a very, very efficient sailor in charge of our boat. There were 3 boats. Remember, we went to a place called Visby, which is on an island off Sweden, and we were going to go to Hanko in Finland, which was about 220 miles. It was the longest trip I think I'd ever done. Anyway, we set off, and we'd been gone about a couple of hours, and it was a thick fog came down. And in those days, we didn't have GPS. I don't think we had. Did we have Decker? I think we had a Decker. We had something anyway that would give us a course. And we sailed through this thick fog and heard nothing and saw nothing until it was getting towards evening, and the guy said, we're not going to sail through the night, we're going to, there's an island here, it's a bird reserve, we're going to anchor off there. And I remember thinking, so I thought it was bird reserve, and I'm quite interested in bird watching at that time. Of course it was still foggy. When we got woke up in the morning, the fog had lifted 3 feet, so you could see the island, which you hadn't been able to see before. We anchored off using radar, I think, and we'd anchored off, looked out, there's the island, you see, but what you could see was trees, about 3 foot of trunk, and then fog. Off we went again. And in fact, it was astonishing me, we actually came through this fog. We actually sailed through the next night, and in the next morning we were due, we thought we must be getting pretty close now. And suddenly there is this thin buoy, what wasn't like these big things, just a thin post, probably about 10 foot tall, but perhaps that wide. There we were, that was what we were aiming for, and there it was, smack in the front. I've never been more surprised in my life. And then we came into Hanko, and the first thing that happens, of course, is in Finland, because we're coming in to Finland from Sweden, you meet the customs, you see. And the customs weren't really interested in us, but what they were interested in was, have we got any drink on the boat? See, because they're very, all the Scandinavian countries are difficult about drink. We had 1 bottle of beer on the boat that was left from the few that had been around. I've always been on my own boats, and they had been pretty strict about people drinking on the boat when you're on the voyage. Drink as much as you like when you're in port, but on the voyage you don't. So there was 1 bottle of beer, but it was interesting. One bloke was filling in the thing, and the other bloke was going around the cabin and lifting things up, and that was what he was looking for. Anyway, we went ashore, and Finnish, I'm no linguist, but I can usually make myself understood with a bit of French or a bit of German or a bit of sign language. Well, we were trying to buy some beer, and we went into the supermarket, and there were these beer bottles, but what we couldn't work out was whether they were low alcohol beer or proper beer. And we had a long, and gradually a little crowd built around us. And I was thinking of beer, Savetha, and people were scratching. And suddenly this bloke, and I'm told, I don't know if this is true or not, but the Finns don't like touching people, And this fellow comes up to me and he goes, see, he practically touches me and says, Strasse! And I thought, German, street. See, can't follow my tone. Strasse! And there down the street is the shop that sells alcohol. And if you wanted a bottle of it, and this was 1990, so if you wanted a bottle of whiskey, then I think it was £45. We didn't buy one. I was bad enough trying to buy a few bottles of beer.
So it must have been wasn't it a frightening experience just being out in the water, just especially travelling through the night and things like that?
Well, there's a thing that we've what's called jetty nerves. You sit on the jetty and you think, oh, no, we can't go out. And I'm pretty cautious because I think I know my limitations about what I can do and what I can't do. And so I would often say, well, I don't think we should go, type of thing. But once I'm out, no. Because once you're out, and you've just got to get on with it. And, there's no point in getting...
I would have thought that would be something that would frighten me.
Well, I would have thought it would have frightened me, actually. But once you're doing it, you've got to do it, you see, so you've got to get on with it. And there's no point in, if you start worrying about it, then you will get yourself into trouble. You just got to get on and do it.
Do you ever have any run-ins with the Coast Guard?
Well, yeah. But that can be dangerous too. You know, because that's where the rocks are.
You never had any run-ins on rocks or anything like that?
I never wrecked it.
That's always good.
Mind you, with the narrowboats, of course, they say it's a contact sport because you're always barging. I mean, first time I got on the boat, I was used to my 30-foot yacht, and I'd had a motorboat for a year, which was about the same length, and suddenly you get on this narrowboat that's 55 feet in length, you know. If there's a fog, we won't be able to see the front. so you know, you've got, and of course the roof's there, and then there's a bit more in front that you can't see. So you're guessing a little bit as to where the front is. And you took getting into a lock, you know, and then suddenly you find that there's the locks are filled, but there's an overflow thing that runs around the side often, and it comes out as a current, just in front of the lock gates. So as you come up, you've got yourself all lined up to get into this lock. Might be if it's a double lock, there'll be another boat in there. If it's a single lock, you've got just enough room to get in. You get in, and you're all lined up like this. And suddenly this thing is coming out, you go whoomp, and you're off there, and you hit the side. So it's slowly.